Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It angers me when I figure out a problem, but I see that the ones in charge of solving the problems are actually part of the problem. And the issue is they have power over me, so I can't really change things. I'm trying, but I can't. So what's going on here? You know, this war in Ukraine, they say it's against Russia, Ukraine against Russia, unprovoked. I don't think that's the way it is. I think it's NATO against Russia in the territory of Ukraine. And NATO is United States. Okay, that's clear what it is. That's what my idiot interpretation of that, if you want it. Okay, and after Russia, if Russia falls, next one is China, and that's it. India will fall into line. That's what it is. So they can tell me all kind of freedom, democracy, sovereignty, love and democracy and European values, all garbage, okay? Because they violate each and every precept they tell us that, hey, we should uphold this. They violate each and every one, okay? Look at Syria, they have military stationed in Syria, sovereign independent country, but they tell us about to condemn Russia for invading sovereign independent Ukraine. What? You're doing the same thing. Shut up. So what's going on here? Those weasels imposed sanctions. What, about 30-some countries on this planet? Only 30. 30-some out of 195 imposed sanctions on Russia. What, 11 sets of sanctions, 12 sets of sanctions, whatever. What happened? Do you expect, why did they do it? They said, we will destroy Russia and we will make Russia, do whatever we want them to do. Because the ruble, their currency will disappear, their economy is going to collapse, they're going to come and get Putin, grab him by this, and we're going to come in and we're going to reconstruct Russia in our image. That's scary. So that's how the story goes. So what they do? They invest in Ukraine, they fight. The Ukrainians fight with everything these guys give them. Weapons, money, they fight the Russians with the Ukrainian nation. And Ukrainian nation is going to be decimated. And some Russians will be killed. And these guys are going to be, whenever they're going to touch them a little bit or a little bit more, they're going to come and say, hey, stop, Ukraine, you got to talk, but we don't tell you what to do. They're going to tell them, stop, that's it, end of the line, get the fuck out. So what's going on right now? We were supposed to have Russia collapse economically, but somehow we are in worse economic shape than the Russians are. Am I saying that? Yes, according to a Business Insider. Okay, so if you have a problem, call them. It's obvious these guys did not collapse, and we have problems here with inflation and so on. But they send billions of dollars over there to fight the Russians. I'm not going to say to Ukraine. They invest to fight those guys, and still not winning, and still we're losing here economically, and to hear right now that actually the Russians are getting wealthier. How is that possible? Is there an understanding somewhere? Is Putin or what? Let me show you this little article. It doesn't mean this article tells the truth, but it's going to use numbers, it's going to use people. Take it however you want. Russia did not collapse yet, but we are. Anyway, so this is Business Insider. Russia got richer even as the war in Ukraine raged on last year, while the West shed trillions of dollars of wealth. Now this is Business Insider, is not Gigi telling us this. Business Insider has its own, agenda. But what is the agenda here? Telling us that the Russians, who we are supposed to hate, are getting richer. And we, the West, we are supposed to be perfect. We are shedding trillions of dollars of wealth. How is that possible? It's not hard to figure that out. So Russia added $600 billion of total wealth last year. A report by UBS indicated. Now, I don't know who UBS is, but anyway, here it is. The number of Russian millionaires rose by about 55,000 last year, a new report by UBS indicated. Now, what the hell is going on? The number of millionaires and ultra-high net worth individuals also rose, despite the war in Ukraine raging on. So these guys will support the war. They will support Putin because under the circumstances, they are getting millionaires, they are getting better. Meanwhile, the US and Europe shed trillions of dollars worth of wealth, the Swiss bank reported. So this is something like Swiss bank. So Swiss bank indicated, right, that Europe lost, got rid of, shed, but the other guys got it. How is that possible? Russians got richer last year even as the war in Ukraine raged on, while the US and Europe lost trillions of dollars, UBS reported. Russia has added $600 billion of wealth, of total wealth, $600 billion. The Swiss bank found in its annual global wealth report published Tuesday. Now, do you believe this or not? The number of Russian millionaires also rose by about 56,000 to 408,000 in 2022, while the number of ultra high net worth individuals, people worth over 50 millions, jumped by nearly 4,500. So people worth over $50 million in Russia jumped by nearly 4,500. So 4,500 more millionaires of the over 50 million rose in Russia. But the US lost more wealth than any other country last year, shedding $5.9 trillion, while North America and Europe combined got $10.9 trillion poorer, USB report. I don't know how many more millionaires the US has now. Yeah, they talk about the US as a country, but over there they talk about the Russians as individuals, rich. I got that one. There were also 1 million, here is, fewer American millionaires by the end of 2022. So 1 million fewer, but not 50 million, right? Although the US still accounted for over 50% of the world's ultra high net worth individuals, the bank said, but you can see the trend. Russia's wealth gains came despite its invasion of Ukraine in February, which has led to the West imposing sanctions on the Kremlin, which are doing very bad, that led to its economic shrinking and triggering a slump for Moscow-listed stocks. Now, don't think that those less millionaires in America, the money went to you and I. I don't know if you guys are millionaires or not, but anyway, it didn't come to us or to poor people. And they say, oh yeah, okay, the Russians are gonna, have a higher class of millionaires, a bigger class, therefore we're gonna have more poor people and they will start a revolution. Okay, wait for that then, wait. So UBS acknowledges that, and I'm quoting, wealth trends in Russia are difficult to determine at this time, but did highlight it as one of the handful of countries that had gotten richer in 2022. So the country got richer, a handful. A handful is five. A hand has 5 fingers. I don't know, but I don't know if that's the analogy. Rising oil prices could be one factor behind the wealth increase, with exports of the commodity a key economic engine for Russia. The cost of the barrel of benchmark Ural crude jumped by about $7 last year. Well, we know they got over the price cap imposed by the communists, Western communists. Mexico, India, and Brazil also all added significant amounts of wealth in 2022, while the US, Japan, China, Canada, and Australia lost the most. Well, you take it however you want to take it. There's a problem. After a year and a half of war and sanctions, this should have been the headline. Russia's last year economic collapse and I don't know. That means should have happened last year, and these guys are having profits. I have about 3 articles here talking about the Netherlands, the Germans, which were part of it, and one more country. I will not disclose it at this point. I will probably make a video on that. They reported negative growth. They are in recession. I think I got into 2 semesters already, or 3 trimesters. Trimesters. So maybe that's good for some, but for us, a nation is not formed out of some, it's made of all of us. All right, well, the sanctions work. What's the one of the definitions of insanity? Doing the same thing, all right, and expecting a different outcome. If you do the same thing, if you put the same ingredients and you follow the recipe, what do you expect? Something else? You want to bake a cake and it's going to be an octopus or something? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.